Oh, I may have shat. G'day, ladles and gentle spoons. Welcome back to the Boneyard Arcade Podcast. As always, I'm Lucky.
I'm Graham.
Wait, what? And I'm Josh.
And I'm Graham.
And I'm Lucky.
And I'm also Josh.
Congratulations, fuckwits. It's been a week since we did a podcast and we've already fucked everything. Rusty tromboner. Obviously, if you're watching this, we missed a week of podcast. We all had a lot of shit going on. I had root canal. Josh has a fun adventure story he wants to share with everybody. Because he's like, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast.
I was outraged. I went to Perth and on my red-eye flight over, cheapest one I could get. Love me a bargain. It became really expensive because we had to rebook it twice, but that's another story. I had the quintessential airplane experience.
You mean getting drunk on the plane over to Texas? Am I right, boy?
Isn't that's it? No,
I had.
They lost your luggage like Ben Stiller.
No, I went carry on only because I was only there for a week. I had an infant who was sat on its mother's lap, kicking the back of my seat while crying for the first, I don't know how long, to the point where I never want to be that guy, and I had to turn around. I'm like, look, it's a 5-hour flight, and I really would love to get some sleep. If you could get your kid to just, I understand they're a child.
If you could throw them out the fucking window. If you could have them maybe
not kick the seat, or just, hold them just a little further back so they can't do it, that would be great. And, they settle down.
I was waiting for the parent to be like, no.
No, she was actually quite nice about it. And I was like, okay, you know what? She was nice. I'm not going to recline my seat until I really need to go to sleep. So I was saving that. It was my treat. And then the button didn't work. And the day before, I was at Kinokuniya doing their free comic book day photos. And so I'd been like hunching over and, doing this and that. And so my back was just on fire in these the budget airplane seats.
Old man Florence.
Look,
loves a bargain.
It was that or twice the price.
Yeah, fucking pay for comfort, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any options.
Tiger.
Yeah.
Don't do that anymore because Tiger's fucked.
Then, after all that, there were 3 full-blown bogans 2 rows ahead, treating the red-eye flight as a bar. And they were being so obnoxious and loud on the plane. I mean, just like you guys.
Did we go to Perth?
To the point where one of them, there were 2 and then one in the row in front, and he was leant over with his arm on top of pretty much on top of the random dude next to him. This old bloke who I swear probably was just it was a full plane. He had nowhere else to go.
He was trapped in the plane.
He had this guy yelling to his mates 1 row back, and the whole time to the point where they got cut off. They'd had about 5 beers apiece, and they were like, "Okay, we can't actually serve you anymore."
Fucking pussy.
Yeah, and eventually I finally I was like, I'm broken because my back's on fire, and I asked the flight attendant, and she couldn't find me a seat, or she didn't come back. And then I asked another one. I was like, "Hey, is there any other seat on this plane? Because the recline's broken, and I want to kill myself."
What did they say?
Eventually, he came back and he's like, "There's one seat up the front. It's in row 4. It's in the middle between 2 randoms. Go take it." And I was like, "Oh, thank Christ!"
Oh, you didn't tell me that bit. I didn't realize that you actually got a resolve to this.
Yeah, hour and a half in. Or 2 hours in.
If it's a 5-hour flight, then
it's not too bad.
It wasn't too bad, but I mean, I sort of... I had a lot of things going against me. It wasn't a great time to be Josh.
Do you know what he did, though? Do you know... He's sitting there, he's like, I had such an uncomfortable flight. Couldn't recline because I'm old. He messaged me from Rottnest Island, and he was like, oh, look, quokkas, they're so cute.
Oh, I saw your fucking selfie.
You little fuck.
One of them.
Did your quokka selfie?
I was all about
saw that.
Put quokka selfies here. But the day that he was sending me quokka selfies, I was getting fucking root canal. I was getting my shit pushed in by this really cute little dentist lady, and I had my head back and I was like, you know what, this isn't so bad. And she's like, oh, you're gonna have to come in for an extra session. Your root canal's not now 3, it's 4 sessions because look at all this pus. I've never seen so much pus. And
I was like, the whole time she's pouring pus in there because the dentist wants the fucking money.
I was sitting there and she was like, oh, Miss Lucky, your treatment's going to take a little bit longer. And I was like, why is that? And she's like, oh, because there's fuckloads of pus here because you have a massive infection. I was like, great. And she was like, it might taste bad. So I'm sitting there swallowing bits of pus, and I was like, Josh is on right now. Dan's making bat signals.
I was sick as.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck.
I remember you messaged me and you're like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
You know, take care of Chloe
Everyone
if things go bad.
Yeah, everyone was kind of like, fuck.
It was a bad week, and that's why.
Week. Yeah.
It was an interesting week. It was a mixed week.
There was no podcast.
Yeah.
But we've been up to things. We went and saw Deadpool.
Deadpool 2. Fuck yeah. Deadpool 2.
I have to change my pants. Yeah. Hence
yeah, look, we got all this shit.
Wow, so good.
Got all this shit.
Where did this come from? Dan, you're a sucker for collecting
no, I didn't
cups
fix.
and
I
shit.
mean, I didn't know if you can see him still, but I didn't fix him. So usually, yeah, I didn't fix him. So
Ghostface.
Underneath Ghostface is a skeleton that I bought from Costco when Costco first opened in Australia.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I'm mounting this thing. And my mum at the time was like, why do you want to mount a skeleton? I was like, because I need a fucking mannequin and I don't have a mannequin and I need to put shit on it and it's going to be Ghostface. Absolutely. And then when I did Deadpool 1 convention, I was like, I need a headpool. So I yanked the skull off it and made it a headpool. So now Headpool lives inside Ghostface. So
that's really creepy and I kind of love it. But when you took him out and you were like, I'm going to go get beers, I looked over at the door and he's just like, he's sunken into his shoulders and it just reminds me of the lizard going.
Yeah, he's having a moment. Like he's just.
The photo I just took, it actually reminds me more of one of those like tasteless gentleman memes where it's like, you know, when she sucks you dry.
Oh, God.
Look at his face.
Yeah, he's pretty.
You should see the photo I just took of him.
He's pretty.
Might be on the screen like 30 seconds ago.
Is this the one that I have to edit?
Hey, yeah. I'm teaching this to edit.
Put Gabby editing here.
No!
Gabby, why don't you put a picture here? Now make it move.
Oh, this is going to be awful. Anyway, we saw Deadpool 2 and I came in my pants a lot. Just tread carefully. There might be spoilers here.
What we'll do is we'll save the spoilers for one section of this.
And we'll put something on the screen and say something before or something.
Dobby dies.
We'll make it obvious.
Yeah, we'll just throw in like a quick snippet of like spoilers don't fucking pass, like kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and do that. But what did you think overall without spoiling so that we can talk to people
I came buckets and I laughed really hard and I nearly cried at one point and it was like, it was just this, it started like almost slow for me. I was like, oh yeah, they're going to tease it in and then you get hit by a fucking freight train and then you're laughing about being hit by the freight train the rest of the movie. You think it's the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It was the best. It was so much better than the first one, in my opinion. What did you think?
I liked it more than the first one. Yeah. I loved it the whole way through. The opening kind of weirded me out a little bit. Yeah, because I was like, the credits scene is cool because obviously it's just like Deadpool in the credits is the opening credits is just him doing his shit, right?
Yeah.
Like he's doing his Deadpool thing. But then when he started his story for what this movie was going to be about, I was like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Why
How is this going to be a thing?
I was a little bit confused, but I'm glad I stuck with it because it was a good film.
Yeah. I was like, you're in your. I'm not going to say too much, but like he was in his own apartment, and the stuff he was saying he was going to do, I was like, why? Like I don't understand. There's no context for me right now.
Why do you want to do this?
Yeah, what the fuck? Like this makes no sense. And where the fuck are we taking this movie? Like, what has happened? And then they did a retelling, and I was like, the retellings always
makes sense.
The retellings always make it happen.
It set it up well.
Yeah. So I loved it. Like it had stuff in there that I kind of hoped for. And when that was fulfilled, I was like, this is fucking like, this is done for me. Like this is, yeah. I'm so
Dan
bad.
pulled the ghost face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so bad at like talking about these kinds of things without spoiling it.
Me too.
So I'm sort of just like,
that's why we had the conversation before the episode about whether or not we'd make it a full spoiler episode, because Dan and I were just sitting there after the movie being like, blah, 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 blah. And then this happened. It was like, oh my God, yes, did you see this?
Yeah.
And Josh was like, maybe we shouldn't make it a spoiler episode. And we're like, okay.
There's just a lot of like big key points to the whole film. Like you don't want to.
But did you like?
It's hard to dance around it without like, you know, saying nothing, eggs, and it's also hard to
yeah.
You don't want to spoil it for anyone.
But I look at you and I always think that, no offense to you, but you probably know the least amount about the comic world and like Deadpool's world and things like that.
Yes, this is accurate.
So I look at Dan and then I talk about like, you know, the Easter eggs with him, but then I'm like, what do they mean to Josh? Does it mean fuck all? Like, how does the movie stack up for you, considering you might not know as much?
Well, just on the Easter eggs thing, I think I'm getting a lot of them.
Yeah.
But then, because it's an Easter egg, if I'm not getting it, it's because I don't even know I'm missing it.
Yeah.
So there could have been so many more things in that There could have been so many more things in that film that I totally missed, and I'll just never know.
Yeah.
But that's good. I think that's kind of like blissfully ignorant is kind of a way to be. But then I walked out and I was like, hey, did you catch this? And you're like, oh, no. But did you like it?
I absolutely loved it. Like, you know, it was, like you said, it's the first one was really, really good. The second one is even better. Definitely better.
Yeah.
I felt like the first one's
it was very fleshed out.
Weren't as strong. Like in the second one, they introduced fuckloads of new characters, but I kind of like, I don't know if that's a spoiler. It's not.
I mean, if you've watched a trailer, you'll know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. So I made the mistake of reading like an article, like a film review of it, and they were like, did Deadpool 2 try too hard or try to put too much in? And I was like, as somebody who's a fan, I just sat there and I fucking enjoyed it. So like, that's all I know.
Yep.
That's all I care about.
Someone's got to have like, you know, someone's got to take it to task, because no one wants to read a review that just is like, oh, it's really, really good. I liked it.
But that's what
people, I know.
What we're doing.
Yeah, because if it genuinely is really good, you kind of have to, you know, you can't be like, yeah, it's really good, but I didn't like that half a second of this scene where, you know, he spiked the camera and this happened and I saw a boom mic shadow, and like they'll find some reason to hate it.
Yeah.
Like people want to create outrage.
I think a few of the articles I saw had headlines of why fans love the movie and why critics hated it. So how this movie has separated fans from critics.
Yeah.
And I think it makes total sense, because if you're a Deadpool fan, this movie is made for you. It's not like they're making this movie to introduce it to a world of suits who, you know, they want to fall in love with this character. They're literally, this is a fan service fucking
fans
film.
by fans.
They pandered to us like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And to me, the first movie was more of a pilot movie to what we can expect for the rest of the Deadpool movies we get. And if they keep following like this whole chemistry of like, they do a scene at the beginning of the film, then they move into a retelling, and then you find out the rest of the story towards the end, like they did for the first one. They followed that same sort of method for this one, and they could literally make 20 fucking more movies with that same chemistry and just have it like work.
Roll on. Yeah,
as long as their story is cool enough, it's got enough funny moments in it, Deadpool does cool shit, it's a good sort of thing. So if you're a fan, I think you'll just enjoy it. If you're a critic, you'll look at that and be like, how often do you want to milk that same method of making a movie? You know, how many times can Deadpool pull a joke?
It will wear out. But, you know, if your life is about being bitter and like finding reasons to hate things, sure, you'll find a problem with it, but you'll find that with everything. Yeah. Otherwise, it was flawless. Like, it was just brilliant fun and a really good time to watch. Yeah. I want to go back again. And I don't see movies more than like once. Yeah. Not in cinemas anyway.
I would see it again.
Is this the point where we talk about spoilers?
Yeah, I reckon we should talk about our favorite Easter eggs here.
Okay.
And some of the cool things. And it's about 15 minutes in, so it'll be about 12 minutes in, I think, or something.
That'll be entirely irrelevant because I could have write it down. Otherwise, I got to find this moment.
Well, I mean, like for the time we've been recording, I
have to edit it. It's gonna be me.
I feel like 10 minutes of non-spoiler Deadpool 2 movie talk is plenty for anyone.
I think it's people heard about us talking about whether or not we liked it. I think that was a big thing when people saw it. They were like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was great." And they were like, "Yeah, me too. It was so cool." And everyone went crazy. But then it was the little things that people wanted to talk about with other people who had seen it, like, you know, the spoilers and the Easter eggs and things, which we are now going to talk about. So if y'all motherfuckers sitting there being all like, I don't want to see Deadpool spoilers, leave now, but come back because you need to watch.
Don't leave. Look at the screen. There'll be something on the screen. Gabby's going to edit it.
Yeah,
She's
we'll just put something in.
There'll be a little note. You'll see it.
Really easy to inject. It's fine.
It'll be Gabby dressed as Gandalf saying, "You shall not spoil," and she's going to make that picture.
Yep.
She's going to put
Photoshop
it on.
it first, then edit it in.
Yep.
Fuck you guys. You gotta do it. So hard.
Welcome to my life.
All right, so spoilers begin now. I nearly cried at the beginning when
Vanessa dies. Yeah.
Right? I honestly did not expect to nearly cry in a Deadpool movie.
My thoughts are Vanessa dies because he eventually marries Lady Death.
Yeah, and she represents death in this movie because as Deadpool tries to kill himself over and over again to see her, she represents death. Yeah. Yeah, that's something I didn't think that you would get a little bit of.
Straight over my head.
That's fine.
Yeah. But I thought that was crazy that she died in the beginning. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was very upset about that.
Yeah.
I like
really
her.
Cute.
I love her. And
me too.
Yeah. And I was watching it and I'm like, why would you, you'd make a whole first movie about him getting her back.
Yeah.
And being worried that she's not going to love him because of the way he looks. The whole fucking first movie is about that. And then you kill her in the first like 5 minutes of the next movie.
I think that was the best fucking setup for it, though. It's like, here's a movie about Wade trying to get his woman back and make her love him and shit. And then they're like, okay, new Deadpool movie. What can we do?
No happily ever afters.
No fucking
You die
happy
now.
for you. But do you know what I was surprised about? The fact that something so shitty happened in the beginning as a catalyst to start the rest of all of the events that happened.
Yep.
I left and I was still happy. Like I felt good. I was like, that was a hard ride, but it was like...
They get you through the moment and, they rip the Band-Aid off. It hurts for a while. But, it was good. I got my lollipop.
Yeah.
And Domino?
Yeah, Domino's awesome.
She fucking killed it.
That was
really fucking good. That Zazie Beetz chicks.
Yeah, she was so cute in it. And
Holy fuck.
And I think people who are all like, oh, why is she, why is her skin a different color? Like, Domino's meant to have pale white skin. It doesn't fucking matter in this movie.
This is realistic.
Yeah.
It's like it's an actual, what's it called? It's like, the skin.
I'm not sure.
Oh, like where it's missing the
like the patches. It's almost like it's bleach, but the pigments are missing.
There's a beautiful model who's like a fashion model, and she's got the big white patches, but she's got really dark ebony skin, and she is stunning.
There's a UFC fighter who is literally, it's like his whole body is in strips.
Oh, nice.
And his like nickname is the zombie because he just looks like he's been shredded.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And that's like, it's that condition. But like, it's a real fucking thing, and it made sense that if they ended up with a character of like an African American descent, to do that, like, kind of
give her something as well. Yeah.
Like,
oh, for sure. I mean, that's part of the character. Like, you don't have a naturally black eye and white skin.
Exactly.
Like, it's all part of a character at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And does that, like, without any real knowledge of this stuff, does any of the, being white, like, painted white, come into the comics as some sort of
reason?
Yeah. Is there any benefit or reason?
No. That's just kind of how she always was.
So
I'm not sure. I could be wrong.
As far as we're aware, there is no real need for her to be painted bright white.
I did like her nod to she's wearing a plum bomber jacket at one point. Like, it's a plum colored bomber jacket, and I'm like, that's a nod to her old uniform that she used to have. And it was really ugly, but it was like that bright purple color. I was like,
and the little jersey that they give Deadpool.
Yeah.
With the X in the middle.
The trainee.
It actually, that resembles his X-Men uniform.
Does it really?
Yeah, because he used to have like a yellowy X-Men uniform that was still Deadpool in style, but it was ugly as fuck. It was like yellow and black and had little bits of blue, and it was just, it's like...
So like Cable caught fire?
Well, Cable had the blue and yellow suit as well, so they all had that ugly blue and yellow theme to them. Yeah, look it up, because there's like, it's blue, yellow, red, bit of black, and it's kind of like a shout out to his character. I think it was even a big X that he had in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Whatever it is, we can't put it on the screen because there's a spoiler note on the screen. Yeah,
that's it. That's exactly it there. So that was like a little shout out to the fact that that's his classic.
That's
it looks terrible.
Cute. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fucking ugly. But for me, probably the thing about this movie that was the best thing.
Yeah, I was waiting for this.
So I messaged my brother before we went because he went and saw it the night before.
Yeah.
And I was like, just tell me one fucking thing, because I've seen like little mentions of it on the internet. I have researched it myself, zoomed in on the photos. Is Juggernaut in this movie? And he messages me back and he's like, no spoilerinos. And I went, bitch, tell me, because I'm going to Wikipedia the fucking movie anyway, so just tell me whether he's in it.
Yeah.
And he was like, there are signs of him in it. And I was like, all right, fine. Like, that's enough for me not to Wikipedia it. I would just expect signs and
just wait, like
just
little hints.
nod.
Yeah. And there's like little things in this movie that, involve like that. I remember the kid's name. He's Fire Fist, 15-year-old Kiwi kid.
Russell.
Yeah. No, the actor's name.
I only remember Russell because they made fun of his name.
Yeah, we looked it up on the way home. He's really good at the imaginary rope.
Yeah, that was so good.
Fucking good. Holy shit. But there are signs in this movie of Juggernaut. Like, you see a shadow of him, you hear him knocking really heavily, you hear his deep voice. And then, I don't know how far into the fucking movie, but I'm like very shitty at this point, because I'm like, these are such obvious signs of the character.
I think we were like 3/4 of the way in.
Yeah, and I was sitting there enjoying it, but also waiting there just being like pissed off at the fact that there were such huge signs of Juggernaut, yet they couldn't get the license to throw the character into the film.
Cunts just couldn't get it up.
I see.
Yeah, and I was not shitty. I enjoyed the movie up until that point, but I was like, what the fuck? Like, how can you have such obvious signs of the character and not include the character?
Yeah, no name, no actual acknowledgement, just like We all know what you know.
We know what you're hinting at, and they're really big fucking hints, but there's no sign. And then, like, 2 minutes later, like, you just see him come out of the rubble, and he's actually the main villain of the fucking film. And I was just like, this is it now. This is my movie. Like, Juggernaut is like one of my favorite X-Men characters.
And you think it's Cable up until that point, who was meant to be the main villain, but he turns around and he's like, that kid is gonna fuck everyone's shit up.
Yeah.
We have to do something about it. And Deadpool's like, oh, okay, give me 30 seconds with him. And then Juggernaut turns up, and then the kid's like, me and Juggernaut are best mates.
Yeah.
I mean, more of a Kiwi accent. That was not good.
Old Mate Firefist canon? Or
I don't know.
A new thing?
That's he's an old school character.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, he's in there. I thought at first that he was Pyro.
Ah, okay.
I thought they'd made him Pyro from the X-Men story, but it turns out he's Firefist, which I looked up because I didn't know about Firefist. I looked up the character before we went and saw the movie because I knew that this kid was in there and he had fire powers, and I was like, yeah, he's Firefist, and I was like, oh, okay.
It was not the team up I was expecting, and especially with Juggernaut, I was like, because as soon as Juggernaut turned up, I was like, oh, and I looked over at Dan, and Dan was just like, yeah, there's Juggernaut. And I was
Thank
like,
fuck, yeah.
I got so excited.
Yeah. Good Easter egg. The actual X-Men from the X-Men movies are in this. They're only in it for that split second where they're sliding the door shut.
You don't have a big enough budget to actually have any of the X-Men in this movie, and then they turn around in the mansion and they're all just standing behind a door, and the Beast slowly closes it. I was like,
the fuck.
Blessed. I'm glad they didn't try and like do more with it.
No, it's good. Those little hints are perfect. That's all you need, really. Like, I mean, they made $780 million on the last movie.
Yeah.
So I'd say their budget covered having those characters in this film for that amount of time at least.
It's having, like, not having them is far better than having them.
Yep.
It's just full of, like, fourth wall breaks and little, nods to the audience about every little thing, and I love it. It's constantly just...
It leaves you wanting more.
It's self-aware as fuck as well. It's like... And all of the jabs at Green Lantern and the original Deadpool, like the first one in Wolverine and Hugh Jackman and shit. Yeah. Holy fuck, everything, even down to like the music that they use. There's a Juggernaut song that's the end credit scene. Spoiler.
It's shit.
Everyone was hyped about it. I was like, yeah, it was cool, but.
It was in the film.
It was in the movie.
Yeah, he was in the movie.
Like, it's in the Juggernaut scene.
It's not a secret extra bit. It was just they gave it to you again.
But he's also bigger than the song. Like. Why? I get that it's like the last thing you would wait at the end of the credits for, but it doesn't even come on after the credits. It comes on during the last part of the fucking credits.
Yeah, I think it's actually while the music is it while the music credits are going?
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Something like that. That's the kind of thing they do.
I was like, this isn't a post-credit scene. It's happening during the fucking credits, and it's not a scene, it's a song. And we just watched Juggernaut. We're all Juggernauted out. Like, give us more next time, because he doesn't die in the end. He actually crawls out of the water at the very end as well.
Does he?
Yeah, because they jam the wire up his ass.
Did he crawl out?
Yeah, and you see him put his hands on the ledge and pull himself out of the water. And
I did not pay attention to that scene at all.
So he's coming back.
I'm just lost in laughter.
He'll be back, which is great because I fucking love him. And he needs to come back in his brown outfit next time.
Yeah, I agree.
Not his fucking grey one. I mean, he's in the grey one in,
Wasn't he in a yellow thing in this one? Because he was in the jumpsuit.
Yeah, he's got the prison jumpsuit on.
Yeah.
But usually he's got like a full skin tight with these
brown
big ring things around his like limbs. And I just hope that returns. So that's my next want for the next movie.
Your dick got super hard when Juggernaut turned up.
Was there a favorite scene for you guys in this movie, or a favorite part of this movie?
Deadpool and Cable fighting side by side in the orphanage play area.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, I started getting tingles because they were just in sync, and I was like, in my head, I was like, if Dan doesn't cosplay Deadpool with me as Cable, I will be fucking disappointed and sad, and we won't ever actually be best friends for real. So that was my favorite bit.
What did you have?
Give me a minute.
Oh, and the part where
you got a good one?
Baby legs.
Oh my god!
Shirt cocking it. That was the fucking best.
I thought you might. I thought you were going to say that.
I've been saying that
he's been shirt cocking it all day.
Yeah.
You won't shut the fuck up about it.
It's such a versatile thing.
It is. It's a thing now. It's fucking great.
And when they're all like, I think Cable turns up and they're all like, okay, now you get one more chance to say something inappropriate, and it's like over the pants mouth stuff and stuff. Do you remember that? Do you remember that scene where they're all like,
the one where they all take turns about they're like, okay, who wants to do this?
And they
we'll all do it at the same time.
Yeah. And then Domino and what's his face say it at the same time, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, I was very amused by that. Yeah. There's a lot. Oh my god.
It's a very good film.
Yeah. I this movie surprised me in one part, and it was because I'm not emotional about shit. Right? I've watched Dobby die. I watched the Avengers and most of them die in Infinity War.
Spoiler.
We're in the spoiler section.
That's true. The whole fucking episode's been a spoiler.
Yeah. I saw all this shit. It didn't get emotional, but I literally had to sit and I bit the fuck out of my tongue. And I even sort of like turned my head a little bit when Wade finally got to go back with Vanessa.
Oh yeah.
And they were playing the acoustic, like
that would that
acoustic version of what's the name of the song?
I looked it up. I saw it on the. I wanted to know that it.
Yeah. Take on Me, wasn't it?
Yeah, Take on Me, right?
It's an MTV live one because I looked at it. I was like, I really wanted.
Unplugged.
Yes. I really wanted it.
Right.
I don't think it's on Spotify.
It fucking hit me, man. I'm sitting there watching, and he's like, the whole movie, he's trying to get through that wall. I know we've got to wrap it. I know he's trying to get through this wall,
Christ.
And he's like fucking like he can't get through. He finally gets through, and that music's playing, and and I was just like, what is happening to me right now?
Yeah, it's like
my period. What the fuck is going on? Even now I sit here, it gives me that face tingle, and I'm like, why am I feeling sad about this?
Can you raise both of your hands above your head right now?
Do you smell toast?
Is this a stroke?
I'm pregnant.
I feel like we have to end the episode, which means we've also ended all of the spoilers. If you've watched to the end of this episode, thank you so much. Subscribe for the love of fuck, and leave us a comment in the comment section below about anything that you disliked or liked about this episode. You can find us on social media at Boneyard Arcade. You can find me at Lucky Bones.
You can find me at Josh_Florence.
And you can find me at Grimbones on everything.
Come and talk to us about the Deadpool movie if you've seen it. If not, then I'm sorry, you can't talk about it.
Or jump into the Discord and we'll talk to you there if you don't want to spoil it for the rest of the world.
Good idea. All right, guys. Until next time, take it easy.
See ya.
Bye.